NHL teams and scouts always liked Sam O'Reilly throughout the entirety of his draft year. They viewed him as a quality mid-round prospect, but it was his work in the OHL playoffs and then the Memorial Cup for the London Knights that really caught scouts' attention and had them give him a second look, take a look at all of his tape from the season once more. The result? Well, he's gone from being probably a second or third round prospect in the draft to a player who just might slip into the back half of the first round. So why has O'Reilly's stock soared so much over the past few weeks? Well, for starters, teams absolutely love his compete level. O'Reilly plays with an extremely high motor. He's constantly making an impact. He plays with an edge, and he's a willing combatant in puck battles. In other words, he's just the kind of player that hockey men are gravitated towards and love. Now, the intriguing part about O'Reilly's upside is that his biggest fans, the scouts that are highest on him, they think he has legitimate potential to be a true shutdown center at the NHL level. The details in his game are very, very strong. He's a tenacious checker. He can be trusted against top competition as a lockdown forward. He knows how to anticipate routes and read plays to kill them before they start. He just has the kind of hockey IQ that tells you that he has a good chance to stick at center at the NHL level and maybe even excel there to the point where he's a true matchup guy at the NHL level. There's also plausible offensive upside here with O'Reilly as well. He's probably not ever going to be a top scorer, but there's legitimate passing ability here. It's more in the subtle, quick touch variety that creates spaces for and opportunities for his line mates, rather than highlight reel passes that are going to be watched on YouTube a bunch. But those plays give his line mates more opportunities to play in the offensive zone, more chances to create chances for themselves, and just more zone time and more puck time on the whole. O'Reilly's hockey IQ is really strong, and that's how he creates most of his offense. Also, scouts think there could be breakout potential here. The London Knights were a very deep team, and O'Reilly did play more in the middle of the lineup this year rather than the top of the lineup. That plays into probably part of why his scoring numbers don't look that great. Next year and the year after that, when he's playing further up the lineup on a potential Memorial Cup contender, his production could skyrocket. And then his offensive upside could look much higher than it does now. So what are O'Reilly's weaknesses? Well, there are legitimate concerns about the offensive ceiling, to be sure. 56 points in 68 regular season games at the OHL level in one's draft year. It doesn't exactly scream first round lock. It doesn't scream a player who's likely to score more than 40 points a year at the NHL level, at least at first glance. And when you watch O'Reilly play, while he is noticeable, he's always doing things. He rarely looks like he has true dynamic offensive ability or high-end playmaking or laser shooting ability. He makes plays, he's involved, he creates goals and chances, but not to the degree where you watch him and you think he could be a top liner at the NHL level. O'Reilly also isn't really anything special as a skater. He's not slow. I certainly wouldn't tag him with the poor skating tag, but it's not a standout quality. He's not dynamic on his feet. That's really the big concern about O'Reilly getting taken in the first round. What's his ceiling? He'll almost certainly be a quality role player at the NHL level, and shutdown centers are really valuable, so if he becomes that, he's probably worth the pick. But if he's just a solid fourth liner who can play third line in a pinch, it's probably not worth a late first round pick, and there are some scouts who think that's all he'll ever be. That said, it's pretty easy to see why a lot of NHL teams are coming around on O'Reilly the more that they watch him, the more that they saw him perform in the playoffs, and then the more they went back and watched his tape from the season too. He's got a very high floor. And shutdown centers, if that's what you think he can be, they're really, really valuable. O'Reilly flashed legitimate offensive skill in the OHL playoffs and the Memorial Cup, so that's fresh in everyone's minds. And this shouldn't be brushed aside. He's in a really good developmental environment. The London Knights are consistently one of the best Canadian junior hockey teams. They're coached and run by former NHLer Dale Hunter. It's a great place to have a prospect develop and potentially reach a ceiling. O'Reilly, in the end, he's a high floor player with a lot of traits that NHL teams traditionally like, and he showed enough in his draft year to convince at least some teams that his ceiling could be legitimately high.
We all silly like the mayor.